Yeah. Howdy, everybody. Today is Tuesday, February 11th, 2025, and the time is 6:30 p.m. We're here for the regular session of the Coppell City Council meeting. We do have a quorum present, so I'm calling the meeting to order. We will be convening into executive session in the first floor conference room. At the end of executive session, I'll come back out and announce work session, at which time the public will be invited and encouraged to join us. Thank you very much. Howdy once again, everybody. The time is 6:36 p.m. We have adjourned from executive session, and we'll move into a work session in the first floor conference room. The public is invited and encouraged to join us.
It was a great trip. Sounds like we missed out on a great trip.
Okay.
Well, hang on. If I had gone, I would have been happy to say some words.
I don't know that's ever stopped you before.
Wow.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Well, no, he's
Coming
not.
from Mr. Wordy Wordwood, you know,
I'll get him in.
I'm the worst on that.
That's what friends are for.
If you guys want to say anything, I'd be happy. Otherwise, I'll at least acknowledge that a group of us went out there. Anything else on agenda? All right, moving on. Do we have Jennifer on Zoom?
She was on Vegas.
All right, this is to receive a legislative update from Ms. Jennifer Rodriguez. Good evening, Jennifer. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you so much, Mayor, and I appreciate I can kind of see y'all. I'm sitting blinder and y'all look little in my screen. But thanks for having me here this evening to visit with y'all about the legislative session. And Mike may have told y'all that John Cole had a conflict this evening, so I promised him that we would give him all the difficult things that come out of this since he couldn't be here with us. But I just want to give y'all a kind of a high-level overview of where we are now that we're into the second month starting legislative session. We are actually have 110 days left in this 140-day regular session. And before I forget, I also want to thank y'all for just allowing me to do this virtually because we are really getting going over there, so it's hard to travel. I wanted to just kind of go back over our meeting dates of interest first. And so as y'all know, the legislature convened January 14th, and that's when all 181 members, all 150 House members, and then 31 senators were sworn in to office. And the day prior to that, the comptroller, Glenn Hager, he delivered his biennial revenue estimate, the BRE, to the legislature, and that's a constitutional requirement, and that basically tells them how much money they are going to have to spend as they craft a state budget and other things during session. And so he told them, and this is again state money, not talking about federal money that may come down, but $194.6 billion available in revenue for general purpose spending, and this includes a budget surplus of about a little over $23 billion left over from the 2023 legislative session. So budget surplus, he said things look good. That surplus is down several $billion from where they started in '23, but that's obviously still a healthy amount of money that they can work with. And then the other big thing that came out on January 14th, of course, was that we elected a new Speaker of the Texas House. I should say the House members elected a new Speaker, and that is Dustin Burrows. This is his first term as Speaker, his sixth term as a House member. He's from Lubbock, an attorney. He most recently served as Calendar's chair. Y'all may associate that star bill with him from last session. But he was elected in a contested race against another member from Metroplex, David Cook. This is the first contested race we've had taken to the floor in a really long time. And it came down to 2 votes. The first vote, another Metroplex member, Democrat, Ana Ramos, she fell off, and then it left the 2 Republicans. And Burrows prevailed with 85 votes, and that included a majority of those votes being from Democrats, for what that's worth. So he took over. It takes some time for a new speaker to get their office put together, staff, and pull things together. So as we're in this second month of the session, we do not have committee assignments in the House, which is what everybody's kind of waiting on at this point. But we do expect them this week, so that should be coming. The February 2nd, so a little over a week ago, the governor held his biennial State of the State address, and at that time, he enumerated or identified 7 emergency items. And so those are school choice, expansion of career training, teacher pay, water infrastructure investment, property tax relief, bail reform, and the establishment of the Texas Cyber Command. And so the significance of him declaring those as emergencies is that it allows the legislature to act on those before they would otherwise be able to under the Constitution. Something you may read about a lot of, and I've seen a lot of tweets about it lately. The legislature didn't do anything, and the House, they're not doing anything, they're not meeting. Well, the Constitution says they actually cannot move on any legislation on the floor until after the 60th day of session. So that's March 14th. So this will allow them to act on these items that he identified, and those are broad items, so that could be multiple bills. But I will have you note that the legislature is not required to act on these items, and a lot of times they end up not. At this point, though, the Senate has moved forward on at least 3 of those, and they overlap with the Lieutenant Governor's list of priorities. And he released at the end of last month a list of 25 priorities, and those included several of the ones that the governor enumerated, and the biggest one being the school choice or the Education Savings Account Program, and that is SB2. It passed the Senate last week pretty much along party lines. There was one Republican that voted against the bill, Senator Nichols out of East Texas, joined the Democrats in opposition. So that bill, emergency item, Lieutenant Governor priority, is now over in the House, but again, they don't even have a committee to receive that bill yet. The other one is one of the bills related to property tax relief, and that's SB4. This is a Betancourt bill that will take what the legislature has done the last couple of sessions with your residential homestead exemption and increase it to $140,000 up from $100,000. And this bill should be on the Senate floor later this week, and then again headed over to the House. And then finally, the other one they've acted on from the governor's list, or that will be this week, is bail reform. The Senate Criminal Justice Committee is set to take that up. So they seem to be moving on those quicker than I would have thought. But hopefully later this week we'll get some direction in the House on what they'll be doing with those. Next up, that happens every session, is for those of you that may be interested in judicial matters, the Supreme Court the Chief Justice will deliver the biennial State of the Judiciary address, and that's a joint session of the House and Senate. That's going to take place February 26th. And then I already mentioned that March 14th is the bill filing deadline for most legislation. There are exceptions, but for the most part, we should have all the thousands of good ideas that they have. We should have those before us by the middle of March. And as of right now, I looked at the numbers yesterday. They are, more than 2,400, and that's definitely over 2,500 at this point. More than 2,500, and then more than 1,200 Senate bills, 2,400 House bills. So in excess of 3,700 bills have been filed. And so they are well on pace to exceed the record number that was more than 8,000 filed in 2023. And that should terrify all of us because there can't be that many fixes that need to be done. So stay tuned on that. And then the sine die, the last day of session, moves into June. January 14th was the absolute last day the Texas legislature can start their session, the second Tuesday in January of the odd numbered years. And so that pushes their last day into June. And then the governor, his veto deadline will be June 22nd. I did want to just make a comment about the composition of the legislature. 20 Republicans, 11 Democrats in the Senate for the 31, and then the House now has 88 Republicans, 62 Democrats. Obvious Republican majority continues in our leadership, as well as all of our statewide elected official positions. In the Senate, that includes 3 new senators. And the House, we have 32 freshmen. Seems kind of high, but that's really, we've been kind of hovering high 20s, mid 30s for the last several sessions. So that's kind of a normal retention when you put in defeats at the ballot or retirements or even a few resignations. And also just a note, the lieutenant governor and governor now, they're in the middle of their 3rd term, both having been elected in 2014 and sworn in 2015 to their respective positions. Y'all know we have no term limits. This makes Governor Abbott the 2nd longest serving governor in Texas history, only behind his predecessor, Governor Rick Perry. And so, as I mentioned, all those statewides are going to be on the ballot in 2026, as well as almost all of the other elected officials' office, attorney general, land commissioner, et cetera. So next year's a big year at the ballot. And let me make sure I didn't miss anything in my notes before I see if y'all have any questions. No, I think before I just stop and ask y'all to ask me things, I did want to note, and I've worked with y'all for a long time, and I really appreciate that. I enjoy it. Y'all are great folks, great city. So you've probably heard me say this before, but it's true, and I stand by it. But I feel like every legislative session takes on its own kind of personality, or the personalities of the people across the street anyway. And so I mean that we're going to have some event or series of events that we can point to that really define how the rest of the legislative session relates to. So, a few years ago, it was an ice storm and people couldn't move around, or it was COVID and we had to go through tents to get in the building, or last session with an impeachment and expelling a member. But, all the way back as far as I can remember, every legislative session has something. And so we'll gather up in the summer and I'll be able to tell you, or you'll tell me what exactly that was that makes the 89th legislative session unique in itself. But let me stop there, Mayor, members. If y'all have questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Jennifer, we have a question from Mayor Pro Tem Kevin Nevels.
Yeah,
Hey Jennifer, good to see you, and thank you so much for that report. We really appreciate it.
thank you.
So my question is, one of the governor's emergency priorities you said was, and what we've heard is increase in teacher pay. Have you heard any rumblings about what form that might take, or what, is the funding mechanism just going to be, fund balance on that, or any information on that? I'd be very interested to hear.
Yeah, there's been nothing filed yet. last session, I mean, the whole school choice thing was kind of tied up with the teacher pay portion. It's not this time at all. It's going to be separate. The bill that has been sent over does not address that at all. There was money left for that was not appropriated after last session that is part of that surplus. So there hasn't been anything filed yet, but I'll be happy to, because I do follow that for some other folks that are very specifically interested in education, and I'll make sure that I get you the bills that you're going to want to be tracking that go along those lines. And the governor said it broadly. There's not a number on it that he put out there. I think I saw, they'd like teachers to be paid at the top end and, in six figures, but there's nothing out there yet that's been outlined.
Excellent. I would be very interested to follow that bill. So thank you so much for keeping us informed on that.
Absolutely.
Okay, Ramesh, you had a question?
Thank you, Mayor. Hello, Jennifer. Thanks for the update. I don't remember the specifics, but there were a couple of bills that were challenging local control. Do you remember if any of those have a low bill number? I understand the lower the number, higher the priority.
Yes, so, well, there's one that I know you're talking about that would, what do they call it now? Senate Bill 19 has not been filed, but the Lieutenant Governor designated that as the stopping taxpayer dollars for lobbyists, for example. So that does some local control in you, and of course I pay attention to that because I represent other entities like yourself as well. There's a Senate Bill 8, again, yet to be filed, but it's requiring local law enforcement to assist federal government's deportation efforts, et cetera. There will be other bills, and there are some out there that for sure go on local control. One I saw yesterday in the House filed was to restrict your ability to, well, it's not y'all's yet, state ability, but it'll probably trickle to municipal government as well, but to subscribe to certain publications, like the Tribune, for example. So there will be other things like that. I'll just make a note, as far as with low bill numbers, they do, they get attention, but, and the Lieutenant Governor has his package. I'm sure that Speaker Burrows will also have his priorities, but there will be bill numbers that have large digits behind them, or bills that we haven't seen filed and won't see filed for several weeks that will make it through. But yes, there's local control is certainly a campaign point for a lot of the folks that have filed these so far.
So I have a question, and this may be kind of a stretch, so you kind of have to follow my reverse logic. Burrows, our Speaker of the House, was the author of the Death Star bill, which was pretty much opposed by the Democratic side of the House. So how did he end up convincing some of the former opponents to vote him in for the Speaker?
Yes, good question, and I guess we don't really know, but what I'll speculate, and then I failed to mention also on that first week of session, or it may have been the second, the House took up their rules. They, it's their procedures, and it was House Resolution 4, and this just governs how they will proceed during session. And as part of that, for the first time in many decades, precedes me, the legislature, the House, adopted a rule that says all chairmanships of the standing committees will be held by the majority party, Republicans, and then all the vice chair positions will be held by the minority party, Democrats. And so I think there's a little bit of the answer there for you. There were negotiations that the rules further state that these vice chairs will have input on the working with the chairman on the bills that will be brought before the committee, and may even designate certain bills and witnesses that they want brought before the committee. We'll see how this plays out, but I think that there was negotiating to be done. There were also, on that first ballot, some of the members that were very much opposed to the Death Star bill. the Democrats. They voted against him before they were with him, and then there were at least 9 that were present not voting. But I think that what he was balancing was the Republican Party mandate on no Democratic chairs in the House and the Senate, but also him trying to balance the tradition of the House in sharing power. I have heard there will be a Death Star too. Not sure who will pick that up in the House, but in the Senate, that was told to me out of staff from local government.
Thank you very much. Don?
You said, so talk about SB 19, but you said that hasn't been filed yet?
No, it hasn't. The lieutenant governor, he has this list of 25 bills that he identified, and of those, only 6 have actually been filed. The others are just these statements, like the 19 on the taxpayer dollars, that he's got another one that just says stopping drag time story hour. Another one to establish the Texas Bitcoin Reserve, but there's no legislation filed on these or even drafts floating. Or even the author. I mean, we can guess on some of them who the author will be.
But so on the consultant one, particular on that topic at least, has there been any files in the House or anything? I thought I'd heard last week that there had been something filed.
Yeah, I'm sure there have in the House.
Okay. So that's got at least a little bit of traction even this year.
Yeah, and usually in the Senate, it will be Senator Middleton out of Galveston, Houston area. He has kind of taken that. He filed it when he was in the House, and then has taken it with him in the Senate. And I'll have to look back and see. There's usually a few people that file it on the Senate side. Actually, I think Representative Spiller filed something, but I'll send that over to Mike and staff. It's not as detrimental as the ones we've seen in the past.
Okay. Another question, and apologies, you may have said something and I missed it a while ago, but on sales tax origination and things like that, has there been much traction or anything heretofore on that topic at all?
No, and you didn't miss it. That's my John Kroll. John gets all the tax questions. So he gave me a little cheat sheet earlier since he knew he had a conflict, and he said there's been 8 bills filed that touch on Chapter 321 on the municipal sales tax code, but nothing related to our specific issue. There is one that we're monitoring that deals with local sourcing, and he is working with Representative Schofield on the language. But he said this bill may have some other issues not related to ours that may cause it some problems. And then other ones are primarily related to repealing local sales tax bills. We have our own, of course, that we're working on with Representative Garcia Hernandez and Senator Parker on your street maintenance repair sales tax. But on your big issue, no.
No. Okay. Thanks.
Not yet.
Looking forward to an exciting session.
Thank you. Yeah, and we're excited to have y'all here next month, or whoever's going to be able to make it, March 5th.
March 5th, yeah.
We'll make some good rounds. We'll have, there'll be more going on now that we'll have our House committee assignments by then.
Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you very much, Jennifer. Appreciate it. We'll see you in about 3 weeks.
All right, you're welcome. Good night, y'all.
Thank you.
Bye.
She had her finger on the mouse button.
All right, moving on to item C. This is a briefing on elected officials endorsing political candidates. I had asked Bob to just give us a little reminder about what the state statutes are, and then kind of go from there.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor and Council. Very briefly, I'm not going to go on. By tradition, the council has never engaged in the process of using their political office. And I know you get solicited a lot by candidates of partisan politics to endorse candidacies or participate in the process. By ordinance, we have kind of codified, which was a tradition in our community, by not, obviously you have First Amendment rights. And so you can endorse whatever candidates you want using your name, but you may not use your office and identify yourself as an office holder, thereby potentially thrusting us into a partisan political atmosphere. I'm sure we all have our own kind of picadillos and political favorites and participatory democracy that we vote for and vote against, but we don't like to bring that here. So I'm sure we work better amongst the diversity we have in this room than the legislature does, as you can tell by the report that we received. So, having said that, Section 1A-3-10 specifically says that city official may not, and it's a violation of your ethics, to use your political office for endorsement purposes. We go on to say it's improper for you to attempt to influence a city official, to influence a member of the board commission to participate in a partisan election, or to receive money in a campaign as a campaign finance person, or to serve as a treasurer in a partisan election. And again, reminding us that we cannot use public assets, public property to support a proposition that may be on the ballot that you or a committee of citizens that you appoint make a recommendation for a charter or bond or any of that. And I know most of you have been through that. I know Ramesh is new since I've talked to you the last time. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Anybody have any questions for Bob?
Yay.
Well, thanks for that, Dave.
Thank you.
Just on political, I was talking to the mayor of Richardson this morning, and he was pointing out to me that they're on a 2-year cycle, and the entire council turns over together.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, whoa. So, yeah. Anyway, that's not this year, it's next year, so he wasn't worried right now. All right, the time is 7:03 p.m. We're at the end of work session. We'll move into the council chambers for the regular session at 7:30. Thank you.
Got it. 1, 2, 3.
We got it at the retreat.
Good evening, everybody. The time is 7:30 p.m., and we're going to move into the regular session of the Coppell City Council. Just as a reminder, any persons wishing to speak during the citizens' appearance must sign the register outside the council chambers and list your residence address. Tonight, for our invocation, we have Reverend Sumesh Jacob of the First United Methodist Church here to give that invocation, and then we will recite the Pledge of Allegiance, so please remain standing. Sumesh? Okay.
Thank you, Mayor and the council members. Let us spend a moment in silence, remembering the bereaved families of those who died in the recent plane crashes in our country, those who lost their homes and properties in the recent California fires, the situation of school shootings that occur time and time again, the deepening political divide in our country and the people who suffer for it, the continuing war between Russia and Ukraine, and the delicate situation of ceasefire and peace between Israel and Gaza. Let us pray. O God, you made us in your own image, and by your Spirit you work to redeem us through Jesus, your Son. Look with compassion on the whole human family. Take away the arrogance and hatred which infect our hearts. Break down the walls that separate us. Unite us in bonds of love and work through our struggle and confusion to accomplish your purposes on earth, that in your good time all nations and races may serve you in harmony around your heavenly throne. So guide the nations of the world into the way of justice and truth, and establish among them that peace which is the fruit of righteousness. You are the source of all wisdom and understanding, and so be present with these who take counsel here in our city's council meeting to continue doing the work of our community. Bless them, that they may consult together for the common good. Direct their thoughts and words, concerns and deliberations, that all their decisions may be pleasing to you and be for the welfare of all in this city of Coppell. Through Jesus Christ our Lord we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Okay. Okay. Item number 6 is our citizens' appearance. Persons wishing to speak must sign the register and list their address. Presentations by individual shall be limited to 3 minutes each. Persons signed up to speak will be called in the order that they signed up. No personal attacks by any speaker shall be made against any member of the council, mayor, individual, group, or corporation. There will be no comments or deliberations from the city council due to the requirements of the Texas Open Meetings Act. We do have 4 people that have signed up to speak tonight. They will speak in the order that they signed up, and the first one signed up was Mr. Thomas Burrows.
Thomas Burrows, 138 Windpage Drive. We were in Salado this last weekend for a kind of a getaway weekend because my wife has conferences next Friday and Saturday night. And they're having a recall election down there on taxes and stuff. So they now have pick out potholes for people to go out there and help the city fix potholes. So the mayor and the police chief, I just don't see Mayor Wes Mays and any of the council out there putting concrete in holes in Coppell. Anyway, see something, say something. Over by Mayor West, where you and your wife and your daughter and her husband walk with your granddaughter, you know, there was a gasoline can sitting in the thing next to the walk. I saw it. I stopped and looked at it. I didn't touch it. I went down to the fire department, and they sent somebody out there to do something with it. Because who knows? Maybe that thing was going to blow up. Why would somebody leave a 5-gallon gas can there next to where you walk? I don't know. Just next to Sonic, across the street there, where they just did some work. The dirt needs to be leveled out. The guardrails down on the Denton Tap down here so that the kids don't get hit. Again, you know, I think that would be a really good idea. The power poles we have up and down Denton Tap and Beltline that are not have lights on them or anything on them need to come out. The lights on the bridge down on Denton Tap before you turn to go to the senior center. The trees need to be trimmed back, and there's a light out on that. Okay. Since 2011, I've been walking in here and talking about water, and everybody goes, "Oh, no, we don't care about water." You know, well, what is the number 2 thing on the governor's list of things to do in the first 60 or 90 days? It's water. And they're going to build a huge organization to control water throughout the state. So when you guys, not necessarily here because they all weren't here at the time, blew off getting Carrollton and Farmers Branch to go down to East Texas to build a lake to go into Toledo Bend, which everybody knows Dallas Water Utilities is going to be pulling water out of that within 10 years. We're missing the boat here. We need to own our own water. And that is the number 2 issue that the governor has put on for the first 60 or 90 days. Sorry. See you later.
Thank you for your comments. Our next speaker is Shini Varghese. Name and address for the record, please.
Yeah. Shiny Varghese, 834 Chalfont Place, Coppell. Honorable Mayor and City Council members, I'm here because we've been vandalized. Our home had been vandalized last week, and we were been harassed since November of last year. And some boys had been banging our door and running away, and every time we would call the police, and the police would come up, and they did not take any action. And last week, January 31, Friday, they came 3 times, and they were ringing a doorbell, running away, and then started to bang on the door and run away. And each time when we called the police, they said unless there is property damage, they cannot do anything about it. And on February 1st, Saturday, they came once and then threw something on the door and ran away. And we called the police, and they said it's just littering. They cannot do anything about it. And then again in the night, they came and they threw something on the door, and it broke the door. So we've been harassed, and we are living in fear. So just wanted to come here and present my case to the city. This should not happen to anybody living in Coppell. I've known Coppell is a very good place to live. We've enjoyed living in the city. Our kids went to school here. We like this place, but recently this has happened to us, and we are living in fear now. Just wanted to address that here. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Our next speaker is Carol Varghese. Name and address, please.
Carol Varghese, 834 Chalfont Place.
Hello, everyone. I'm not going to repeat what was already said. That was my mom that came up earlier. The only things I want to add is that in addition to what had been happening in November and January and February with the banging of the door, the yelling of the racial slurs, running away, throwing the items at the door, breaking the door, before that, in October as well, 2 of our cars had the tires slashed. So we just feel like this has been an ongoing problem. And we didn't realize how frequent it was happening to other members in the city until I posted about it in Nextdoor and Facebook. And many people reached out to me, many of them sharing security camera footage that showcased the same individuals. We did find out from the police that 5 individuals were identified. I'm not sure, however, you probably know more than I do about what that looks like now. So I think 3 things that are concerning to us is 1, our door is broken. We were able to find a temporary fix, but I'm sure it can easily be broken again. 2, we've heard so many stories from other people who had the same problem, so that raises a concern for us in regards to safety and what we're doing about it. If we could be a little proactive about it, maybe we can try to stop this from happening, because I think as early as 2022, I had been hearing stories of people reaching out to me. And 3, I really do think that maybe there could be a partnership with CISD and officers sharing a message about what vandalism looks like, what harassment looks like, and the consequences. Because I think the concern right now is because since 2022, at least as far as I'm aware, maybe people think that there is not a serious consequence, which is why the issue persists. I haven't really worked with city government before. I don't know what the limitations are, so I'm just proposing an idea. But like my mom said, we definitely are fearful in our own homes. When we see people walk by, we peer over the window again to make sure they're not running in to attack us like we have been dealing with. So whatever you can do, any of your help, whether it's in our specific situation or proactively, would be appreciated.
Thank you for your comments. Our next speaker is Menoz Varghese.
My name is Pastor Manoj Varghese, 834 Chalfont Place, Coppell. Respected Mayor and all the respected people, those who are attending over here. As my wife and my daughter mentioned regarding the incident that happened on February 1st, I don't want to go in the details. We need safety in our house. Since 2012 onwards, we have been living in this Coppell area. We never had such an incident happen in our neighborhood. We need safety and we need peace at our home. We have fear to live at this home since February 1st onwards. We need justice. We need peace. We live in a cul-de-sac, that area. If the city may consider to install a light system or cameras or something like that, that would be helpful to ensure our safety in that particular area. Please, we need justice from the city of Coppell. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you for your comments tonight. Next is item number 7, our consent agenda. The consent agenda is routine in nature and is generally enacted in a single motion. These items have been previously approved through the budget, past council actions. Any item may be pulled and considered separately. Full descriptions are available on the screens. Tonight we have items 7A through 7F. Council, are there any questions or items you'd like to see pulled from the agenda? Mayor Pro Tem Nevels.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve consent agenda items 7A through F.
Seconded by Councilmember Walker. All in favor?
Walker, Hinojosa, Smith, Carroll, Nevels, Prim, Kumar, Matthew in favor, none opposed, the motion carries.
Thank you very much. Moving on, item number 8 is the city manager reports with project updates, future agendas, and direction from work session. Mr. Land.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and Council, this evening with several projects to update. The Magnolia Park Trail, the gabions are being installed. On Woodhorse, the punch list is continuing to be worked on. Dart, the contractor continues to work on sidewalks and asphalt repairs at several of the intersections, and I noticed still some of the intersection arms are going down, so they must be still doing some testing. Fire Station 5, the building is expected to go dry by the end of this week. The service center, the contractors continue to do subgrade work, and 635, the U-turn, TxDOT is continuing to work on the U-turn bridge. And then we will be having an executive session at the next council meeting to update you on our 334 lawsuit. So we'll have Jim Harris. So that is something that will specifically be on the agenda. That's all my report, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Item number 9 are the mayor and council reports on recent and upcoming events. So connect with your neighbors and meet city officials and learn how to strengthen your community at the Regional Neighborhood Summit on Saturday, February 15th from 8 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. at the Flower Mound Senior Center. This is hosted by the city of Coppell, the town of Flower Mound, and the city of Louisville. And this will feature a variety of information sessions presented by local leaders and industry professionals. Topics will include neighborhood safety, tree care 101, and the 8-Door Challenge, which is a program that teaches participants easy ways to get to know their neighbors. Registration and more information can be found at flowermound.gov/neighborhoodsummit.com. Then upcoming this weekend, the Coppell Chamber of Commerce is hosting the Chamber of Commerce is hosting their gala this weekend, but the agenda item here is the Coppell Chamber of Commerce will be hosting the annual Mayor's Luncheon, which is the State of the City report from myself, which will be held on Tuesday, February 25th, beginning at 8 a.m. at the Coppell Art Center. Be there for, and I'm reading what this says, fun and informative Q&A style presentation between our city manager, Mike Land, and myself. We did rehearse today, and I don't know about fun in it, but it is informative. Are you going to bring the fun to the show? Okay. This event will offer invaluable opportunity to hear insights on the city's current economic landscape, upcoming initiatives, and vision for the business community. As deviating from the past, this is not going to be a video. It's going to be a live presentation, and we will definitely be doing Q&A. One other item, members of the City Council and our city manager attended the Washington, D.C. fly-in through the North Texas Commission last week. We met with about a dozen different representatives, elected representatives in U.S. Congress, and I'm going to get some of them wrong, but we met with Julie Johnson, August Pfluger, Beth Van Dyne, Roger Williams, Pete Fallon, Gil Brom, Lance Gooden, and Pete Sessions, and I know I left out about 3. And then after that, we had a sit-down meeting in Senator John Cornyn's office. Very informative, very educational, and really got to tip our hat to the North Texas Commission for providing that. Council members, Councilmember Matthew.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to ask you a question first. Our city was on news, on print media and social media and television in regards to the issue that you heard from the residents today. Is this a good time for me to speak to that or the next item?
It's not on the agenda, sir. It would have to be at the next council meeting if you ask for an agenda item.
It's not an agenda, I just want to make a statement.
There will be no deliberation, you're welcome to make a statement.
Yeah, there's no deliberation needed. Thank you. On the evening of Saturday, February 1st, the Verghese family reached out to me via email, initially sharing the pictures of kids harassing them and later reporting that their front door had been broken. I expressed my sincere regret and sympathy and offered my support. I immediately forwarded the email to City Manager Mike Land, and his team acted swiftly and launching an investigation. By Monday, our police department had identified those involved, resolving the case in less than 2 days. This demonstrates the efficiency and dedication of our law enforcement, and I sincerely thank them for their service to Coppell residents. Coppell is home to people from all walks of life, those born here, those who moved from other cities and states, and those from around the world seeking a great quality of life, great education for kids, safety and security for their family. No matter what one's background, everyone is welcome in Coppell. I have full confidence in our police department and chief of police to enforce the law fairly, equally, with the human touch. No one in Coppell should live in fear of violence or harassment, whether from children or adults. Such behavior is unacceptable. On a personal note, when I ran for City Council in 2018, I faced negativity but overcame it. I'm grateful to the people of Coppell for re-electing me twice. As long as I serve, I will continue working to ensure our community remains safe. I believe that vast majority of Coppell residents care for and respect their neighbors, and that is what makes our city great. I'm reminded of our Bible verse, Mark chapter 12, verse 31. The second is this: love your neighbors as yourself. There is no commandment greater than these. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Any other? Item number 10 is public service announcements concerning items of community interest with no council action or deliberation permitted. Mayor Pro Tem Nevels.
Thank you, Mayor. I think that we were potentially going to speak on this, but the Chamber of Commerce is hosting their annual awards and community gala this Saturday, February 15th from 6 to 10. It'll be located at the Embassy Suites in Grapevine. And the theme is Midnight Masquerade. So the public is welcome to attend. You can go to coppellchamber.org to find out information and purchase tickets to attend. So just wanted to make sure the public was aware of that.
Thank you, and thanks for covering that because that was not on mine. Any other public service announcements?
I got you, sir.
All right, seeing none, item number 11, necessary action from executive session. I believe Mr. Walker has a motion.
Thank you, Mayor Mays. This motion is to approve an agreement by and between the City of Coppell and the Episcopal Diocese of Dallas, care of Church of the Apostles, to purchase 2.015 plus or minus acres of real property from said diocese located on Starleaf Street within the City of Coppell, Dallas County, Texas, in an amount not to exceed $790,000 U.S., plus reasonable closing costs and filing fees, if any, and to authorize the city manager and mayor to execute any and all necessary documents after approval as to form by the city attorney.
Seconded by Councilmember Carroll. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Walker, Hinojosa, Smith, Carroll, Nevels, Prim, Kumar, Matthew in favor, none opposed. The motion carries.
Thank you very much. And that was probably the shortest executive session we've ever had, so thank you, everybody. Item number 12, there being no further business before this council, we are adjourned at 7:54 p.m.